Are you tired of that person who just spams Invoker but thinks they're really good at the game because they've played the one hero for thousands of times and then they haven't played anything else, so they are trash at everything else? Well, actually, that person is me. Yeah, I play Invoker almost every single game, and I have played Invoker a lot. In this video, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot and show you how to counter Invoker in this patch. So if you're tired of that guy running around in your games and then tipping you after burning all of your mana, here's some tips to deal with it. Tip number 1, if you are someone who has to lane against Invoker, there's a couple of things you can do to make it much more difficult for him to actually deal damage to you and to have a kill opportunity on you as well. First of all, use your spells to farm the lane more than you normally would. Don't worry about holding onto mana if he's just going to burn it anyway. Just spend the mana and have something with you like a mango to use just in case you get a kill opportunity yourself. The reason you want to do this is because EMP will do no damage to you if it can't burn any mana. It is worth noting though that, as you can see in the clip that I am doing right now, the Invoker that I was against just wasn't using EMP, so I wasn't feeling the need to spend my mana. So you just have to adjust to this. If the Invoker is going to be constantly trying to drain your mana, which he definitely should be, then you should spend that mana so when he does cast EMP, it does no damage. Now, if you don't have to worry about EMP dealing damage because you have no mana left, you only have to worry about the damage that he can deal to you with Tornado and right clicks. You can grab a raindrops to actually deal with this, and that way when he uses Tornado and then follows up with EMP, you can just stand there and hit him back and be like, now what are you gonna do? What now, Invoker? What the frick are you gonna do now that you've used EMP? I had no mana in the first place and I'm just gonna hit you in the face. So spend your mana on harassing him in lane and also on making sure you get those last hits, and then when you have no mana left, if he uses EMP on you, just hit him. If you're high health in lane and you have very little mana, early on it's kind of really difficult for him to kill you as he does rely very much on the damage from EMP. I can't stress this one enough, and it is so obvious, and many of you are just gonna go, well, obviously, but trust me, it happens way too much, and especially when I'm playing Invoker, it seems like people just forget he can go invisible. It is so weird. Like, just carry dust. If you're going to kill Invoker, you want dust, not sentry wards, because he still gets higher movement speed. Use Dust of Appearance to slow him down as soon as he goes invis. Especially right now with the current meta being Wex, you are going to want to have this dust with you. He is going to Ghost Walk. Every single time that you try and go on him, his go-to is going to be Ghost Walk. Especially for the people that are learning Invoker now and their first go-to is, oh crap, I'm being ganked. Go Ghost Walk. It doesn't really work as soon as they have dust. Most people who are learning Invoker probably won't be thinking of checking if you have dust as well, and if you do have it, then they have to think of something else. They have to use Tornado, they have to use Ice Wall maybe, they have to Deafening Blast if you're a right clicker. There's many different things that he can do to escape, but if they do panic and just go Ghost Walk, you use the dust, and he's now actually easier to kill than before. Please, if you're going to gank an Invoker, make sure you have Dust of Appearance. The same goes for any Invis hero, but I don't know what it is about this hero, people just seem to forget. If you're enjoying the video so far and you found some useful stuff, please do consider subscribing to the channel, as obviously most of you watching right now haven't actually subbed because it's a brand new channel and I'm trying to grow it, and I appreciate it a ton. Anyway, let's get back to this video. If you're not laning against Invoker, or even if you are, later on towards the mid game, items that you can build to interrupt his combos or to just make his life a little bit more difficult are super useful. And there's actually some that aren't that expensive and can make you very difficult for him to combo out straight away. Things like Force Staff or Yule Scepter are incredibly good because ever since the Deafening Blast stopped being a stun, it is very difficult for him to land combos on somebody that has any form of escape that isn't going to get interrupted. For example, as soon as he throws you in a tornado and uses EMP, you just Force Staff the second you land and you'll be absolutely fine. If you have a Yule Scepter, the second you get out of a tornado, you just use Yules. Or if he's going to meteor you, again, just use Yules, you'll be fine. You can dodge a lot of his stuff depending on how you use it and how you time it. These cheap items such as Force Staff and Yules and Glimmer Cape as well even are absolutely a real pain for him early on, so grab them, and if he does anything to you, you can just either debuff it with Yules or Force Staff to get out of the way of it. And of course, please buy an early BKB. If an Invoker is stomping you, if he is going from lane to lane and just killing everybody, get an early BKB, because obviously as soon as you get a BKB, he becomes much less useful in the game. A big worry for Invoker and whether I pick Invoker in a game these days is how many BKB carry heroes do they have? Do they have heroes that want to build BKB anyway? If they have 4 of them, then the game's gonna be much more difficult than if it's just one person and then the others have to buy it but don't really want to. It's kind of okay that way. So take advantage of 4-star Fuels, Glimmer Cape, and of course a BKB, because it makes his life a hell of a lot more difficult. A trick that invokers like to do to win the late game is to buy a Hex and then blink onto a core before they can BKB, hex them, throw an EMP, a Meteor, and a Deafening Blast, and then either just kill them off straight away before they can BKB, or if they are too tanky, you buy a Refresher, and then you can do it all again and keep them hexed. This is a way that an invoker in late game can take out a core with a Refresher Orb, even if they have around 4,000 to 5,000 health, if done correctly. It's something I do a hell of a lot when a game gets late as well and gets a little bit tough, and it can win many games. Now, people just buy BKB here and pray that's going to be enough, and can I activate it before it happens? You want to get a Lincolns. You need a Lincolns for this. Now, it's not going to guarantee that it doesn't happen, but it makes it much more difficult for him to be able to do this. She's going to have to add either another item to break your Lincolns or use Cold Snap first, but it just gives you that little bit of time to react, have your Lincolns broken, and then use your BKB when you see him, or for an ally in your team to react as well. If he BKBs, then blinks in and hexes you, and you don't have a Lincolns, if he does it correctly, if the combo is played correctly, you're dead. There's not really much you can do unless your team has a hard stun that pierces BKB. Speaking of that, if you have someone in your team who can use like a Pudge Dismember, for example, to save you, or maybe to dismember the invoker to interrupt him, or have a silencer in your team that can use his global ult to interrupt it as well, you'll have to make them aware that this could happen and that they need to save that for when it happens. If the invoker jumps in and starts his combo, interrupt him immediately so you get that time to get your BKB off. Grab a Lincolns, grab a BKB, because if he is doing this, your life is going to get very difficult. The last thing I'm going to talk about is heroes that I just personally struggle with Invoker, and I know that these heroes do well against Invoker anyway, especially in the laning phase. These are heroes that you can't usually get on top of, people you can't keep up with, people who have good escapes, kind of like when talking about the previous items, Force Staff and Glimmer Cape and the Yule Scepter, heroes that have built-in versions of this. Good examples of this tend to be Puck and Void Spirit and like Pangolier, heroes that have good escape, heroes that just can completely dodge anything you throw at them. For example, if you use EMP, Puck can easily phase shift it and dodge it. She also has a built-in silence, and which gives mobility and a blink too. And of course, the orb is a nice way for her to get away from anything you do. Void Spirit has the exact same. He can just disappear and pick which location to reappear at, dodging anything that you throw at him. He can also just disappear and dodge the actual EMP if he need be. And his ultimate gives him insane mobility, so keeping on top of him and chasing him down with combos is just not going to happen. Pangolier is kind of similar in lane, where he can use his Q to keep away from anything that you do. If you throw an EMP, he can use Q to get out of it. But also Pangolier can harass Invoker from a good distance away and not have to panic about getting caught out in situations that he can't get out of. As you can see, this is kind of leaning towards the same sort of thing. Anyone who has a way to deal with Invoker spells early on, getting away from the EMP, getting on top of Invoker when he's trying to escape, or comfortably being able to harass Invoker from a distance, is obviously going to be a hero that can deal with Invoker really well. Personally though, I usually pick Wind Ranger if I'm going up against an Invoker in mid. Now this matchup isn't ideal, because when I play Invoker, I'm also very happy to lane against a Wind Ranger. It's not a difficult lane, but with so many games under my belt, I know for a fact that as long as I focus on denying and reaching level 6 first, all it takes is me to have a dust and then use my ultimate on him and he's dead. Heroes that can punish Invoker the second he's used Tornado to be able to escape, you just chase him down and kill him with a Dust of Appearance, is the sort of hero that can do really well. And if you're not a mid laner, picking heroes that can just take him out in a fight very quickly or force him to not be able to escape, such as Storm Spirit or a Legion Commander, is definitely someone that you should consider. Legion Commander jumping and dueling him over everyone else is obviously a great thing to be able to do. Focus him down in fights early on, get rid of him out of the fight, and he can't throw his 10 spells off and you'll be okay. Finally, if you are feeling like it, just pick next, bro. Look at this hero. He just murders Invoker every single time. Screw this hero. I hate it. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped, and I'll catch you in the next one.